technology is a powerful tool with incredible potential, but it also comes with some significant risks. We've seen in the news recently, there's already been some cases of celebrities suing OpenAI for voice cloning and that kind of thing. But as companies race to innovate, concerns about privacy, security, and ethical use are becoming more pressing in voice cloning technology. So recently, there was an unexpected incident involving ChatGPT 4.0, and it's brought these issues into sharp focus when the AI mimicked users' voices without their consent during testing. So, Raj, a concerning incident, but not exactly unexpected, I'd say. It was bound to happen.
Yeah, really interesting. Obviously, 11 Labs has been publicly going about helping clone voices for people, whereby you can upload your own voice and it will clone it for you. Overall, it's been pretty horrendous what it can do. Definitely for unusual accents like mine, it's never done a good job for me. Saying that, as it happens, a few months back, I remember OpenAI claimed that they can clone voices with just a few seconds of audio clip. I thought that was very interesting. And obviously they never released that publicly, so we don't know how it sounds like. But clearly with this audio which I heard and the audio clip I heard about it mimicking the voice and tone, it was pretty impressive what it can do. And it literally just took a few seconds of the time of the user voice to clone it. It's scary. It's scary because obviously there was no instructions by the user to clone their voice, and that's not okay. You need to make sure the user is informed. The user has the right to confirm, to be able to train the OpenAI tool to clone people's voices. Saying that, I feel like the process of doing that is very quick. They figured out something very clever at OpenAI to clone voices. So maybe it didn't take a lot to do it. Maybe it just takes like literally a minute to kind of record your voice, and the last minute you spend telling it stuff, you just learn how to behave and sound like you. But yeah, thanks to tell what this can be used for.
Yeah. So we'll get to the kind of terrifying bits maybe a little bit later, because that's probably what everybody wants to know about. But right off the bat, voice cloning is one thing, but in terms of mimicking a voice, my speech is littered with ums and ahs, and my brain connects to my mouth in a very random way. So what I'm thinking and what's coming out of my mouth are sometimes two completely different things. So if you're listening to this podcast, for example, you could probably pick up that you're listening to a human with all the ums and ahs and the sudden changes in direction as my thoughts change. Are we going to ever see that in an AI? I mean, it's one thing to clone my tone and my cadence of speech and my accent, but you could probably pick out if you hear me not with all the ums and ahs and changes in direction, that it's not necessarily me speaking.
I would say the answer would be yes, you can. In fact, some of the recent videos I've been seeing about 4.0, which is ChatGPT's latest model, so they said in May, they showed some videos in May of what they can do. They haven't launched that yet, but some users have had the privilege of looking at the voice thing. So the stuff you click on your app, within your app, the headphone icon, you can get this pop-up thing which kind of does a voice conversation with you. In that, they were able to really create a human-like behavior, lots of ums and ahs, and yes, they are synthetically put in there to make it more human sounding, but that's what you require to do. And again, I would say, for example, in the last few months, I've used the ums and ahs in my speech, but it can count it. So if it just count, for example, and says, well, Raj says about 4 or 5 of them per minute, let me artificially insert that into the speech. So it becomes like Raj, right? And then you have the accent, you have the pitch, you have the words they use. It's not difficult to mimic somebody as it happens. If you can replicate that in code, then you can replicate that in reality.
Yeah. So let's speak about the implications. I mean, how worried should we be about voice cloning technology? I mean, there's huge potential for it to be misused. Um, we've spoken about content like written content and visuals that include some sort of watermark so that you can run them through a system and determine whether or not they are AI generated or human. Are we going to maybe see something similar with voice cloning technology?
Yeah, so there's one thing which is voice cloning, and the other thing is to do that in real time. When I say
Mm,
real time, what I mean is when you do say a phone call with somebody, to have the answer spontaneously, like we're doing right now, you're doing back and forth spontaneously. That takes much more computation power and AI, the right kind of AI to do it. We talked about Grok in the past,
mm,
GROQ. They are use a thing called LPU, which is LLM processing unit, and they kind of really work on making it faster. In time, absolutely. There'll be no way to figure out the person you're talking to is genuine or not. Watermarking may be a thing, I don't know, but it will be harder and harder. And if you perhaps rely on the closed source or tools like OpenAI or Anthropic for your AI requirements, there'll be tons of other people doing the same stuff in Hugging Faces, which is the open source community. So you'll have stuff there, for instance. All in all, there is no way to stop this. We will see this happening. And with OpenAI, what they showed us was just what they can do. And it was not meant to be done in that way. It happened by mistake because of obviously AI is complex. You don't know what exactly is happening inside AI. So that's one reason for it. Number two is because there's some sort of background noise there and the AI can really understand. That's the excuse. You don't really know what exactly
mm.
happened, but we know they can do it. And that's something to be careful and mindful of. We can't stop this. This is going to happen eventually.
Yeah, yeah. So now, as AI gets better at mimicking voices, what do you think the biggest ethical and security challenge we need to watch out for? How can we make sure that we're protecting people's privacy and identity? And I think that probably works on two levels. You don't want to be conversing with an agent, an AI agent, and it suddenly starts speaking in the same voice as you. But from a security perspective, I mean, you don't necessarily want a situation where you're scammed or something because it sounds like you're speaking to your mom on the phone. So there's quite a lot of ethical and privacy issues that need to be considered with this sort of technology. So yeah, how can it be structured so that we're all kind of safe using this tech?
Again, not a simple answer, unfortunately. But if you look at the situation with phone calls, for instance, typically today, it is with when I talk to my family or friends, we're using WhatsApp for most of the conversations we're having. And so the source of that, so you see the account details, the picture of the person, that makes me feel safer to talk to them. Like if I get an unknown number or a unidentified number, and it's somebody on the line who I don't, who I think is somebody I know, I would be very careful. This is
Mm,
going to happen. So what's going to happen? The way I look at it in the future is the source of the call would be as important as the sound of the person on the other side, so
mm,
that you can match both of them together, and that gives the opportunity to players like WhatsApp and other communication tools, which are harder to hack than the phone lines which we have for landline calling, for instance, or mobile phones. So
mm,
we can expect there to be all these kind of security protocols in place, and there will be new apps coming out which will allow you to be 100% sure that the person on the other side is them. And maybe there'll
mm.
be additional security on their end to verify the retina or fingerprints or whatever that may to confirm that the person there is them. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be an issue for sure, and that's part of the challenge, right? As AI gets available to good actors, there are also others who are looking to hack the system, make money
Mm,
off fraud, for instance. And yeah, the opportunity for fraud is higher with it.
yeah. Yeah. Now, there's obviously similar voice cloning technology that's likely becoming more available pretty soon. And again, these things are developed usually for like a marketing or entertainment purpose. But there's obviously that dark side as well. So, what steps should companies and governments take to prevent the misuse and make sure this very powerful tool is used responsibly? Are we going to see regulation on these types of things? Are we going to see companies maybe not releasing flawless models that they, you can kind of see that, or hear at least with the voices that they're not completely human? What sort of measures are going to be put in place, do you think?
We certainly need some sort of a guideline framework or regulations around using AI to create campaigns. For example, I saw certain tools in the market like HeyGen where you can clone yourself and create campaigns. You can use one of the 40 different options to create your testimonial from customers, which again, we need to kind of have some guidance to say if you're using AI, you need to have a clear indication that you use AI for this video, for instance.
Mm.
That is required globally. There's no doubt about that. But it's hard to say that we can stop this. And maybe the best thing to do is to not stop it because it will stifle innovation. We want innovation to take place, but then have measures to control how we go about declaring the content is AI or not.
Yeah.
That's the best way to use it in my mind, to allow people to claim or say it was genuine, for instance. And the more we can do that, it will only allow us to innovate more, come up with new ideas, new tools for marketing, for instance, or for the purposes, but equally not scam people.
Yeah. Now, so it's clear that AI voice technology is both, it's a double-edged sword. It holds incredible potential, but also poses significant challenges. So we want to hear from you, the audience. Should there be stricter regulations on AI-driven voice synthesis, or do the benefits outweigh the risks? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Pop them in the comments or contact us on social media. And as always, if you enjoyed our discussion, click follow or subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. And Raj and I will catch you in the next episode. Thanks so much, Raj.
Thank you, Megan. Speak soon.